Monopoly will give his number 10. Who's your number 10, sir?
My number 10 for Major League Baseball in 2013 is going to be the Texas Rangers.
Texas Rangers? Why is that?
Well, you see, the Texas Rangers have lost Josh Hamilton and Mike Napoli, but I still think they have a solid core group of people that can play infield and outfield and hit as well. The one thing that scares me, though, is the fact that they've lost some depth in their rotation, and they've lost some depth in their bullpen as well, which to me kind of makes it to where they're not atop their division this year. That's why I have them at number 10.
All right. And then how do you think, who's going to be their power bat this year?
Oh, well, I would have to say Ian Kinsler, their second baseman. He seems to be very good at, hitting the ball. He puts it in play a lot too, but he's more of a power second baseman. You won't see him go for as many, singles. He'll get a lot more doubles and triples and home runs and, probably hit for a lower average than average second basemen in the major leagues.
Who's their ace starter right now?
Their ace would have to be Colby Lewis.
Colby Lewis? Okay, all right.
He's, I believe he got injured at the end of last season.
Yeah. He was on the disabled list.
Yep. So he ended on a poor note, but I think he could come back and still throw pretty well for him.
And my number 10 is the Atlanta Braves, and that is because, well, they're infield.
Okay.
You have lack of depth in the shortstop position as well as the second base. And who's their third baseman? Nobody knows. It could be Martin Prado that's in left field, and they need to find a left fielder if they move him over to third base. And, well, their starting staff, that's why they're in the top 10, because the starting staff of Tim Hudson, Chris Medlin, and Mike Minor, and that young guy, Randall Delgado, you never know with those young guys how they can do and improve in the next year. So
you have to think. You have to think if those young guys do come through, though, it'll be a very close race upon the NL East between them and the Nationals.
Yep.
So we could have a very interesting race going in next year.
It could come down to the final weeks of the season for that race.
Do you think Hayward, Freeman, and Ugla will have a good season batting in the middle of that lineup this year, or do you think the addition of B.J. Upton kind of hinders that?
I think the addition of B.J. Upton, Upton can get on base on more times than not, and he can hit for some power. So if he gets on base, with Freddie Freeman coming after him, probably hitting in the 3-hole, that he'll probably drive him in, and with Dan Ugla, if he can cut down those strikeouts, as we always have been saying over the past few seasons, you can just cut down those strikeouts, draw some more walks, or maybe he can be that extra oomph this year, So if Dan Ugla can actually produce, other than last year, that was a down year for him. So once he starts producing, there's your team. There's the Atlanta Braves, probably winning the NL East.
Okay. Moving on to number 9. For my number 9, I'm going to have to go with the Los Angeles Angels.
The Angels, yep.
If you think about it, they did make one of the biggest free agent moves of the year in signing Josh Hamilton to go along with already a big power lineup in Albert Pujols and Mark Trumbo. Of course, you can't forget Mike Trout, the AL Rookie of the Year. He's going to be patrolling the outfield. And
you got Mark Trumbo.
He went deep for 38 home runs last year, I believe.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Somewhere along there.
Probably mid-30s.
There have been rumors that, they were going to try and move him maybe, but, with the solid lineup they have right now, and their rotation's probably the reason they are slotted at number 9 for me. If you think about it, they have a good solid top 2 in Jared Weaver and C.J. Wilson. And their bullpen's probably one of the major questions for me. Ryan Madsen going in as their closer.
Yeah, he's been slacking the past couple of years due to injury.
Yeah, and you don't know how well he's going to perform. Also, one of the key questions I have about their field is catcher. If you look at their depth, they have Chris Iannetta, they have Hank Conger, and Jacob Hester competing for that job. And so really, I don't know out of those 3 who's going to come through. And really, you'll probably find their catcher at the bottom of their lineup most of the time.
At my number 9, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals going into this year have typically the same makeup as last year, and the St. Louis Cardinals team, they're always going to be very consistent and very, productive in every position.
Yeah.
Because passing the reins off from Tony La Russa, you gotta know that Mike Matheny, he had a great first year there. So you gotta think that they're gonna be up there in the NL Central this year, and that's why they're at my number 9, because they do have a solid pitching staff with Adam Wainwright, Chris Carpenter, and Jake Westbrook and Lance Lynn, and Jaime Garcia. Who can forget him? He had a great rookie campaign, and he came back last year and had a decent outing in his sophomore year. And their lineup with Carlos Beltran, Matt Holliday, Rafael Furcal to lead off, and he gets on base about 40% of the time.
Yeah.
And David Freese he had a great postseason a couple years ago when they won the series. And last year it wasn't a very productive year, but it was still productive enough, to just keep in there in the middle of the lineup. And and Yadier Molina.
Yeah.
Name that Molina. America's favorite game.
I'm pretty sure the other two are retired by now.
Yes, yeah.
We can still play that game.
Benji Molina sitting somewhere eating a hamburger or something,
Chimichanga maybe.
Oh, now we're talking. But yeah, and Alan Craig, their first baseman, he's gonna hit 300. That he's gonna get on base.
Came through for my fantasy team last year. That's for sure.
There you go. Finished second, did you, right?
Yes.
Yep. Alrighty. And then their depth in every position is seems to be pretty good, and they got some young guys coming in, like Matt Carpenter. He made a splash in the majors last year, so
some fine prospects. Adam Wainwright came back at the end of last season to pitch a little bit. He did okay coming back from that injury, but do you think with him and Carpenter that they'll just be able to stay healthy enough to get there to be the same team they were?
That's definitely the question right now for the Cardinals. They've had so much injuries with all their pitchers and stuff. So if Wainwright and Carpenter can stay healthy together, I think that's going to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the majors this year.
I agree with that one. That'll be another good race in the NL Central between them and, who knows, the Reds. Maybe
the
the
Reds,
surprise Pirates.
Oh, the Pirates, yeah.
If they end up the first half like they did last year, you never know, might be in there.
Did they crack your top 10?
No, the Pirates did not. In fact, at number 8, moving on from number 9, I'm going to have to go with the San Francisco Giants, the defending world champions. The reason they've slipped down from, I don't know, most people probably might have them at 2-3 because, of course, they are the world champions, is, if you think about if they've improved at all from last year, I don't think they have. Because the main area in which you have to look for them is their bullpen. They have lost so many guys from that bullpen that helped hold them together. It's just not the same as it used to, and you can't believe that their offense being as hot as they were is going to come through for them again.
Yeah.
Marco Scutaro, great player, great second baseman.
Fantastic postseason, yeah.
He had a fantastic postseason, and you just don't know that he's going to put that into the 2013 season. So it's all just very up in the air for the Giants right now. And you got to think with a team like the Dodgers getting better.
Yeah, signing Zach Greinke.
To shut down that lineup, how is that going to affect how they are in the NL West?
Yeah, they don't score runs as it is, so the Dodgers adding their pitching depth, maybe the Giants are going to be second or third this year.
You never know.
The Dodgers.
Diamondbacks could be coming up too. It all just depends. Yeah. Did they crack your top
Yes, they
10?
did. As a matter of fact, they are number 8 in my top 10 power rankings this year, heading into the next season. And the reason why that, a lot of people are putting them outside the top 10 this year, and I decided to put them in there because of their depth and how young they are and all that potential that they have going into this year. With the signing of Brandon McCarthy, a good young pitcher. He's not that young. He's 26, but he's still young enough to to fit in with those guys. And Kevin Towers, he's a real gunslinger. He signed Cody Ross after trading Chris Young in the beginning of the offseason, and with an overabundance of outfielders, and then they had 5 outfielders, and then they traded Young, so they had 4, and maybe that could that could translate into something. But